Chapter 7. The Sorting Hat. "Is everyone here?" asks Hagrid. "Right then." They follow him up a large flight of stairs to a huge front door made of hard oak wood. Hagrid raises a gigantic hand and knocks 3 times on the castle door. The huge oak door opens immediately and loudly. Standing there is a tall witch with black hair, wearing emerald green robes. Her face is very severe. The first thing Harry thinks is, "I do not want to make this person angry." "Here are your first-year students, Professor McGonagall," says Hagrid. "Thank you, Hagrid. I will take them from here." She opens the doors all the way, and the students enter the hall. The hall is massive. There is a magnificent marble staircase in front of them that goes to the floors upstairs. Up ahead on their right, there is the sound of hundreds of people in conversation. "Welcome to Hogwarts," says Professor McGonagall. "You will join your classmates in a moment for the opening banquet, where you will be sorted into your houses. Follow me, children." Professor McGonagall continues, "The sorting is a very important ceremony, because your new house will become like a family to you here at Hogwarts. You will have classes with your housemates, you will sleep in your house dormitory, and you will spend your free time with the other children from your house in your house common room. There are 4 houses at Hogwarts: Gryffindor, Hufflepuff, Ravenclaw, and Slytherin. Each house has its own important history, and each house has produced great witches and wizards. If you perform well, your house will receive points. If you break the rules, your house will lose points. At the end of the year, the house with the most points will win the House Cup. It is a great honor. I hope each of you will be of help to your house this year. The sorting ceremony will begin in a few moments in front of all the other students." As the group walks through the dark hall, several of the children scream.
"What's that?"
someone yells. Harry looks around and gasps. There are about 20 ghosts that suddenly appear in the hall. They are passing through one of the walls and floating towards the great hall. The ghosts are white, the color of pearls, and transparent. They float in the air across the hall. They are talking to each other. They ignore the group of first-year students who are standing there in shock. Then one ghost, a fat friar, notices them. "Are you about to be sorted?" he asks. The children just nod their heads up and down in shock. They cannot speak. "Let's go, Hufflepuff!" "Ha ha!" yells the fat friar ghost as he disappears through the other wall into the great hall. "Come along now, children," says Professor McGonagall in a stern voice. "The sorting ceremony is about to begin. Follow me in a line." Harry is very nervous. His legs feel like they are made of iron. Ron is behind him in line, and they enter the great hall through a large doorway. Harry has never seen or imagined anything like what he sees. It is a strange but splendid place. There are thousands of candles floating in the air, illuminating the room. In front of Harry, there are 4 long tables where all the other students are sitting. The tables are covered with golden plates and cups. At the end of the hall, there is another table where all the teachers are sitting. Professor McGonagall leads the students towards this table. There are hundreds of faces looking at them in the candlelight. Sitting with the students, here and there, are the ghosts. Professor McGonagall places a 4-legged stool in front of all the first-year students. On top of the stool, there is a pointed wizard's hat. The hat is old and extremely dirty. Harry does not know what is going to happen. Maybe he will have to pull a rabbit out of the hat, he thinks with fear. All of the first-year students are now looking at the old hat. Suddenly, a tear in the hat near the brim opens like a big mouth and begins to speak.
"Oh, you may not think I'm pretty, but do not judge on what you see. I'll eat my own self if you can find a hat that is smarter than me. For I am the Hogwarts Sorting Hat, and I'll tell you where you should be. You might belong in Gryffindor, where live the courageous hearts. You might belong in Hufflepuff, where justice sets you apart. Or maybe in wise old Ravenclaw, if you have an intelligent mind. Or perhaps in Slytherin, where real friends you will find. So put me on, do not be afraid, for I am the thinking cap, and I will come to your aid."
All the children in the hall begin to clap and cheer when the hat finishes. "So, all we have to do is put the hat on?" Ron says to Harry. "My brothers told me it was very painful and that I would cry. I'm going to kill Fred. He said it was like wrestling a troll." Harry smiles. Yes, just trying on the hat is much better than casting a spell. But Harry wishes he doesn't have to try the hat on in front of all the other students. Harry doesn't feel courageous or intelligent at the moment. He wishes there were a house for boys who are scared and insecure. That is the house for him, he thinks. Professor McGonagall walks forward and holds a long roll of paper, a parchment scroll. "When I call your name," she says, "you will put on the hat and sit on the stool to be sorted. Abbot Hannah." A young girl with a pink face walks forward. She picks up the hat, sits down, and then puts the hat on her head. It falls right down over her eyes. There is a pause that lasts only a moment, and then the hat yells,
"Hufflepuff!"
All the children at the table on the right begin to clap and cheer. Hannah walks over to the table. The fat friar ghost is at the table. He floats over to Hannah and shakes her hand. "Bones, Susan!" yells Professor McGonagall.
"Hufflepuff!"
The hat shouts again. Susan follows Hannah, and the table begins to cheer again. Boot! Terry!
Ravenclaw!
Another table erupts with cheers and clapping. Several children from Ravenclaw stand up and shake hands with Terry as he sits down with them. Bulstrode, Millicent? Millicent is the first child to be sorted into Slytherin. Harry has heard about Slytherin, but when he looks at all the children sitting at the long Slytherin table, they do not look like very nice children. Harry hopes he is not chosen to be in Slytherin. Then suddenly he has an even more terrifying thought. What if he is not chosen at all? What if the Sorting Hat doesn't say anything, and Professor McGonagall has to make him leave Hogwarts in front of all the other children? Harry finally returns to reality when he hears, "Granger, Hermione!" Hermione runs quickly to the stool and pushes the hat hard onto her head. Almost instantly, the hat screams,
Gryffindor!
Ron makes a groaning sound. Oh. When Neville Longbottom, the boy who keeps losing his frog, is called, he trips on the stool and almost drops the hat. The hat takes a long time to decide. Finally, it yells,
Gryffindor!
And Neville runs off to the table, still wearing the Sorting Hat on his head. Professor McGonagall has to go after him to get it. Malfoy, Draco. Malfoy walks forward full of confidence when his name is called. The hat barely touches his head when it screams,
Slytherin!
Malfoy joins his other friends, Crabbe and Goyle, at the Slytherin table. He seems very happy with himself. Soon, the moment Harry fears the most arrives. Potter! Harry! Harry walks forward nervously. The whole room becomes silent. Then everyone begins whispering to each other. Potter, 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 the Harry Potter? The children say quietly. The last thing Harry sees before the hat covers his eyes is the great hall full of children, all looking at him. There is a low voice in his ear.
Difficult, very difficult. You have great courage, I see. Your mind is good too. There is lots of talent. And, oh, yes, you have a strong desire to prove yourself. That is interesting. So, which house do you belong in?
Harry closes his eyes tightly and thinks, not Slytherin, not Slytherin.
Not Slytherin? The voice says. Are you sure? You could be great, and Slytherin can help you find greatness. But if you're sure, if that's where you really want to be, Gryffindor!
Harry takes off the hat slowly. He is very relieved. He walks over to the Gryffindor table. He does not realize it, but he is receiving the loudest cheers of all. Percy, Ron's brother, who is the leader of Gryffindor, the prefect, gets up and shakes Harry's hand vigorously. Harry sits down with a big smile on his face. From where he is sitting, He can see the high table clearly. He can see all the teachers, and he can see Hagrid there too. Hagrid gives Harry a big thumbs up. Harry smiles at him. And there, in the center of the table, is Albus Dumbledore. Harry can see Professor Quirrell at the table too. He is wearing a large and strange purple turban. Finally, the sorting comes to an end, and Professor McGonagall picks up the sorting hat and carries it away. Then Albus Dumbledore stands up. He is very happy to see all the new students.
"Welcome,"
he says, with his arms open wide.
"Welcome to a new year here at Hogwarts. Before we begin, I would just like to say a few words. Nitwit, blubber, oddment, tweak. That is all. Thank you."
Many of the new children think Dumbledore must be crazy. What do those silly words mean? Harry does not know if he should laugh or not. Then Percy asks him, "Potatoes, Harry?" Harry's eyes open wide. Just moments before, the plates on the table were empty. Now they are full of all kinds of different foods. Roast beef, roast chicken, bacon and steak, sausages, pudding, carrots, and piles of mashed potatoes. As they are eating, one of the ghosts says, "Oh, that looks so good. I haven't eaten in more than 400 years. But you never forget how delicious a good steak tastes." "I know who you are," Ron says suddenly. "My brothers told me about you. You're Nearly Headless Nick." One of the other children asks, "Nearly headless? How can you be nearly headless?" Sir Nicolas, the ghost, looks unhappy. He is hoping the children do not talk about his name, but he feels he must explain. "I'm nearly headless because of this." He raises his arm over his head and pulls on his opposite ear. His whole head swings almost completely off his neck, like it is on a hinge. Someone has obviously tried to decapitate him, but they did not do a complete job. He pushes his head back onto his shoulders and says, "New Gryffindors, I hope you will help us win the house championship this year. We have not won in so many years, I am beginning to worry if we will ever win again. We must end Slytherin's record. They have won 6 times in a row." Harry eats happily and talks excitedly with his new housemates. Dessert arrives, and he eats many plates of delicious ice cream. He is feeling relaxed and a little sleepy. He sits back in his chair and looks at the high table, and sees Professor Quirrell talking to another teacher with long black hair and a hooked nose, like the beak of a bird. He is very pale. It happens very suddenly. The teacher with the hooked nose looks over Quirrell's shoulder straight into Harry's eyes. Harry feels a sharp, hot pain across the scar on his forehead. Ouch! Harry covers the scar with his hand. The pain leaves as quickly as it arrives, but Harry cannot stop thinking about the look on the pale teacher's face. It seems like the teacher does not like Harry at all. "Who is the teacher talking to Professor Quirrell?" he asks Percy. "That's Professor Snape. He teaches potions, but everyone knows he wants Quirrell's position. Snape knows a lot about the dark arts." Harry looks at Snape for a while, but Snape does not look at him again. The meal finally comes to an end. The desserts disappear, and all the plates and cups are magically clean and shiny. Albus Dumbledore stands up once again to talk to the students. He warns the new students to avoid the forest. It is full of monsters and very dangerous. He also tells them that they cannot use magic in the corridors between classes. Quidditch trials will begin in 2 weeks, he says, and anyone interested in playing for their house should talk to Madam Hooch. And finally, he tells the new students that this year the corridor on the right-hand side on the 3rd floor is prohibited, unless they want to die a terrible death. Harry is not sure if he should laugh or if Dumbledore is serious. But before he can ask, all the students stand up and the prefects of each house call out to all the new students. Percy, the prefect of House Gryffindor, yells, "Follow me, newbies! Stay close! You don't want to get lost!" They follow him out of the great hall and up the magnificent marble staircase. They go through many passages and up long flights of stairs. They go through hidden doorways and behind hanging tapestries. Harry is beginning to get tired when finally they stop in front of a large painting of a fat woman in a pink dress. She is moving, and then she speaks. "Password?" "Caput Draconis," says Percy, and the painting swings open like a door. And there, in the wall behind the painting, is a round opening that leads into the common room of House Gryffindor. It is a comfortable round room with big, puffy sofas to sit on. Percy shows the boys to their side of the house, and then he shows the girls to their side. Their trunks are already waiting for them in their rooms. Each room has 5 large beds with red curtains. The boys are too tired to talk. They put on their pajamas and climb into bed. Harry falls asleep immediately. He has a very strange dream that night. He dreams he is wearing Professor Quirrell's turban, and the turban talks to him. It tells him he must transfer to Slytherin immediately. It is his destiny. Harry tells the turban he doesn't want to be in Slytherin, and he tries to take off the turban. But the turban becomes tighter and tighter. And then he sees Malfoy in his dream, laughing at him. Then Malfoy turns into the hooked-nosed teacher, Snape. He hears that same high, cold laugh and the burst of green light. Harry wakes up suddenly. He is sweating and shaking in fear. He rolls over and falls asleep again. And when he wakes up the next day, he doesn't remember a single thing about his dream. Chapter 8. The Potions Master.
There, look.
Where?
Next to the tall boy with the red hair.
Wearing the glasses? Did you see his face?
Did you see his scar?
From the moment Harry leaves his dormitory the next morning, he hears the other students whispering. People stare at him as he walks down the corridors. Students look through the classroom windows and point at him. Harry wishes they wouldn't do these things. He already feels very nervous about being a new student. He is not even very sure how to find his way to his classrooms yet. Hogwarts is full of strange corridors and moving staircases. Some doors open to nowhere, and other doors are not doors at all. They are just stone walls that look like doors. It is very hard to remember where everything is, because even the people in the paintings move around and visit each other in other paintings. The many ghosts who live in the school also terrorize the students. They appear suddenly, scare the students, then disappear. But the school caretaker, Argus Filch, and his ugly cat, Mrs. Norris, is worse than any ghost. Harry and Ron discover this one day when they are lost in a corridor that is forbidden. Filch finds them and does not believe they are lost. He thinks they are trying to steal something. He says he will put the boys in the dungeons. But they are rescued by Professor Quirrell, who is passing by at the moment. Harry quickly discovers that there are many things to learn in his classes, besides waving a magic wand and saying some funny words. Professor McGonagall's class is an interesting one. She teaches transfiguration. She is strict and very severe, and Harry is correct to think it is dangerous to make her angry. Their first challenge in class is to change a matchstick into a pin. Harry and Ron have no luck at all, but of course, only Hermione is able to get close. She is able to turn her matchstick gray. Professor Quirrell's class, Defense Against the Dark Arts, is a silly class, Harry thinks. The students ask him why he wears the purple turban, and Professor Quirrell responds that it is a present from an African prince for helping him defeat a zombie. The students think he is lying. Also, there is a bad smell around the turban. The students think it is full of garlic to protect him from vampires. Harry is very relieved to discover that he is not the worst in his classes. There are many students from Muggle families, like him, who did not know that they were witches or wizards. There is a lot to learn, and even people like Ron are not much more prepared than the other students. One morning, while Harry is having breakfast in the Great Hall, the room fills with flying owls. It is letter day. Since Harry has been at Hogwarts, he has not received a letter, but today is different. His owl Hedwig flies into the hall with a letter in her beak. Harry quickly opens the letter. The handwriting is childish. It is from Hagrid.
Dear Harry, I know you do not have classes on Friday. Would you like to come to my house and have a cup of tea with me at around 3? You can tell me all about your first week at Hogwarts. Send your answer back with your owl, Hagrid.
Harry quickly takes out a quill and writes a simple sentence on the back of the letter.
Yes, please. See you later.
Harry is excited about having tea later in the week with Hagrid because he is not excited at all about having potions class with Professor Snape. Harry has the feeling Professor Snape does not like him at all. And by the end of the first lesson, Harry is convinced Snape hates him.
You are all here to learn the beautiful art of making potions,
Snape says in his first class. He speaks in a very low voice, almost a whisper.
We do not cast silly spells with magic wands in this class, and I do not believe many of you will understand the delicate power of liquids and what they can do to the body and the mind. I can teach you to trap the senses and stop death, if you only pay attention. Potter,
Snape says suddenly.
What happens if I mix the powder of asphodel root with an infusion of wormwood?
Hermione raises her hand quickly to answer.
I don't know, sir,
answers Harry. Snape's lips turn into an evil smile.
Being famous obviously does not help you, does it? Let's try again, shall we, Potter? Where would you look if I told you to find me a bezoar?
Hermione lifts her hand high into the air again. She is almost falling out of her seat. But Harry does not even know what a bezoar is. He certainly does not know where to find one.
I don't know, sir,
he answers.
I see you did not even look at your books before coming to Hogwarts, eh, Potter?
Harry tries to ignore the mean comment. He has looked through his magic books, but how can he memorize everything about herbs and potions? Snape continues to ignore Hermione's hand.
What is the difference, Potter, between monkshood and wolfsbane?
Hermione jumps up and raises her hand as high as she can.
I don't know,
says Harry quietly.
I think Hermione knows, though. Why don't you ask her?
Some of the other children laugh, but Snape does not think it is funny at all.
Sit down, girl,
he yells at Hermione.
For your information, Potter, asphodel and wormwood make a powerful sleeping potion. A bezoar is a stone that is found in the stomach of a goat that will protect you from most poisons. And monkshood and wolfsbane are the same plant. Why is no one writing any of this down?
The children suddenly look for quills and paper to begin writing. Then Snape says,
And 2 points will be taken away from Gryffindor House for your insolence, Potter.
An hour later, as Harry, Ron, and Hermione go to meet Hagrid, Harry feels terrible. He is responsible for Gryffindor losing 2 points in his very first week at school. Why does Snape hate him so much, he asks himself.
Don't worry, Harry, says Ron. Snape always takes points away from Fred and George.
Hagrid lives in a small wooden house very close to the Forbidden Forest. When Harry knocks on the door, there is a series of loud noises and cries inside, things falling to the ground and Hagrid yelling,
Back, Fang, back!
Suddenly, the door opens, and there is Hagrid's big, hairy face.
Just a second, Harry. Back, Fang!
Hagrid finally opens the door and lets them in. He is trying to control an enormous black dog. The house is very small. There is only one room, and in the corner there is a huge bed where Hagrid sleeps. There is a pot boiling on an open fire in the fireplace.
Make yourselves at home,
says Hagrid. He lets Fang go, and he runs and jumps on Hermione and begins licking her. Like Hagrid, Fang is not as scary as he looks. Hagrid, this is Ron, says Harry.
Another Weasley, eh?
says Hagrid, looking at Ron's red hair and freckles.
I spend half my life chasing your brothers away from the Forbidden Forest.
Ron has an embarrassed look on his face.
And this is Hermione,
Harry continues.
I see you love animals,
says Hagrid. Fang, his ferocious dog, is sitting on the couch with his huge head on her lap.
It's a pleasure to meet you.
The cakes that Hagrid has prepared for everyone are like round blobs, and the raisins are so hard they almost break their teeth. Fang drools on Hermione's new robes. They all talk about the first week of school. Harry is especially happy that Hagrid calls the school's caretaker Argus Filch a stinkpot.
And I really hate his cat, Mrs. Norris. I'd like to introduce Fang to her one day. Filch makes his cat follow me every time I go on to campus,
says Hagrid angrily. When Harry and Ron talk about Snape's class, Hagrid tells them not to worry, that Snape doesn't like any of his students anyway.
But he seems to really hate me,
says Harry.
Don't be silly, Harry,
says Hagrid.
Why would he hate you?
Hagrid says this in a strange way. It seems to Harry that Hagrid does not want to look him in the eye.
How's your brother Charlie?
Hagrid asks Ron.
I liked him a lot while he was here at Hogwarts.
Harry wonders if Hagrid has changed the subject on purpose. Ron and Hagrid chat about Charlie, and Hermione pets Fang, who is making loud, rumbling noises of pleasure. Harry picks up a piece of paper that is on the table. It is a news story from the newspaper The Daily Prophet.
Latest news. Attempted robbery at Gringotts Bank. Investigations continue to try to find the criminals responsible for the attempted robbery of Gringotts Bank on July 31st. Investigators believe that dark wizards and witches are responsible, but no one has been identified. The goblins at Gringotts insist that nothing has been taken. The vault that was broken into was already empty.
Harry remembers Ron telling him something about the robbery on the train, but Harry had forgotten all about it.
Hagrid,
says Harry,
the break-in at Gringotts happened on my birthday. It could have happened while we were there.
This time, Harry is certain. Hagrid does not look Harry in the eyes. He makes a strange sound and tries to ignore Harry. As they walk back to the castle after their visit with Hagrid, There are many unanswered questions in Harry's head. They went to Gringotts on his birthday, and Hagrid removed the package from Vault 713. Were the thieves looking for that package? Did Hagrid remove the package just in time? Where is the package now? And most importantly, does Hagrid know something about Snape that he does not want to tell Harry? Chapter 9: The Midnight Duel. On the day Harry learns that his flying lessons will begin, he also learns Draco Malfoy will be in his class.
"I can't believe it," Harry complains. "I'm going to make a fool of myself on a broomstick in front of Malfoy."
"You don't know that, Harry," says Ron.
"Malfoy says he's so good at Quidditch, but I think he just likes to hear the sound of his own voice."
But, like Harry, there are other children who are nervous about learning to fly. Neville Longbottom has never been on a broomstick in his life, mainly because he always has accidents. And Hermione is almost as nervous as Neville. Flying on a broomstick is something that she cannot learn from a book. But of course she has tried. Later that afternoon, they have their first lesson in a large grass field near the Forbidden Forest. On the ground there are 20 broomsticks, lying in perfect lines in the grass. The older students from Gryffindor say that the school brooms are not very good. They say that they vibrate if you fly too high, or they always fly a little to the left. Their flying teacher is Madame Hooch. She is short, with gray hair and yellow eyes.
"Well, what are you all waiting for?"
she barks.
"Everyone, stand next to a broomstick. Come on, hurry up."
Harry looks down at his broomstick. It is very old, and it looks very uncomfortable and very unsafe.
"Hold your right hand over your broom and say, 'Up!'"
yells Madame Hooch.
"Up, up, up,"
everyone shouts. Harry's broom jumps into his hand immediately. But this does not happen with the other students. Hermione's broom just rolls over on the ground, and Neville's broom does not move at all. Maybe brooms know when you are scared, Harry thinks. Neville's voice sounds like he is terrified, and he wants to keep his feet on the ground. Madame Hooch then shows them how to get on their brooms and sit without falling off. She walks down the line of children and corrects how they are holding the brooms. Harry and Ron are very happy when she tells Malfoy that he has been doing it incorrectly for years.
"Now,"
yells Madame Hooch,
"when I blow my whistle, push hard off the ground with your feet. Keep your broom steady, rise a meter or so, and then come back down by leaning forward a little bit. 3, 2.
But Neville, because he is so nervous, pushes very hard with his feet before Madame Hooch blows the whistle.
"Come back, boy,"
she shouts. But Neville is rising straight up into the air like a cork from a champagne bottle. 5 meters, 10 meters. Harry can see Neville's terrified face looking down. Neville screams in fear. slips over the side of his broom and Neville is lying on his face in the grass, and his broomstick flies off by itself into the forbidden forest. Madame Hooch is standing over Neville.
Broken wrist,
she says quietly.
Come on, boy. It's all right. Up you go.
Madame Hooch helps Neville up and says to the whole class,
None of you move while I take this boy to the hospital wing. Leave the broomsticks on the ground, or you will be expelled from Hogwarts before you can say Quidditch. Let's go, dear.
As she walks away with Neville, the children notice something shining and sparkling in the grass where Neville has fallen. It is Neville's Remember-All, a shiny, round glass ball that helps you remember things. It is a gift Neville has received from his grandmother. Malfoy runs over to the object and picks it up.
It's that stupid thing Longbottom's grandmother sent him, laughs Malfoy.
Give that to me, Malfoy, says Harry quietly. Everyone stops talking and watches what is about to happen. Malfoy has a cruel smile on his face.
I think I'll leave it somewhere for Longbottom to find. How about up in a tree?
Says Malfoy.
Give it here,
yells Harry. But Malfoy jumps on his broomstick and flies away. He is not lying. He knows how to fly well. High above, Malfoy calls out,
Come and get it, Potter.
Harry picks up his broom.
No,
shouts Hermione Granger.
Madame Hooch told us not to move. You'll get us all in trouble.
Harry ignores her. He jumps onto his broom and kicks hard against the ground. He flies high into the air. He realizes with great joy that he is naturally good at flying. It is easy and wonderful. He leans back on the broomstick and flies higher into the sky. He can hear the screams and gasps of the children on the ground, and he hears Ron shout in admiration,
Go get him, Harry!
Harry turns his broomstick to face Malfoy in mid-air. Malfoy is not expecting any of this. He is in shock.
Give me Neville's Remember-All, yells Harry, or I'll knock you off your broom.
Malfoy begins to look a little worried.
Oh, yeah?
He answers.
Come and get it.
Harry does not know how he knows, but he knows what to do. He leans forward and shoots towards Malfoy like a bullet. Malfoy manages to move out of the way just in time.
Crabbe and Goyle aren't up here to save you, Malfoy,
yells Harry as he turns around to face Malfoy again.
Come on, Potter,
yells Malfoy.
Catch it if you can.
He throws the glass ball high into the air and turns quickly and flies back down to the ground. Harry sees the ball rise high into the air and then start to fall back to the ground. He leans forward and points his broom down. He begins to move faster and faster, racing the ball as it falls. The wind is whistling in his ears as he dives down. The children below are yelling and cheering in support. He reaches out his hand, and just before he crashes into the ground, he catches the ball and pulls up on the broomstick and lands softly in the grass. He is holding Neville's Remember-All safely in his hand.
Harry Potter!
It is Professor McGonagall. She is coming towards them quickly. Harry gets to his feet. He is terrified of what Professor McGonagall will do to him.
I have never, in all my time here at Hogwarts, seen such disobedience from first-year students. You might have broken your neck.
Professor McGonagall is very angry.
Follow me, Potter, right now. I'm going to be expelled,
Harry thinks.
I just know it.
He wants to say something to defend himself, but he cannot find his voice. He has not been at Hogwarts for 2 weeks, and he is now going to have to return to live with the Dursleys. Professor McGonagall does not say a word as she enters the school. Harry follows her miserably as they walk down a long corridor and stop in front of a classroom. Professor McGonagall opens the door.
Excuse me, Professor Flitwick. I need to borrow Oliver Wood for a moment.
A confused boy comes out of the room. He is an older boy from the 5th year.
Come with me, Wood. You too, Potter.
They follow Professor McGonagall as she walks quickly down the corridor and enters an empty classroom.
Potter, this is Oliver Wood. Wood? I've found you a seeker.
The confused look on Wood's face changes to happiness.
Are you serious, Professor?
Says Wood.
Absolutely,
she answers.
The boy is a natural. I have never seen anything like it. Wood's captain of the Gryffindor team,
Professor McGonagall explains.
Was that your first time on a broom, Potter?
Harry does not have a clue what is happening, but he nods his head yes. He is the perfect size for a seeker. Light, fast, Wood says excitedly. We'll have to get him a decent broom, Professor. A Nimbus 2000 or a Clean Sweep 7. Have you ever seen a game of Quidditch, Potter? Harry shakes his head. No, that doesn't matter. If what Professor McGonagall says is true, you might be the perfect person to help us end Gryffindor's losing streak. It's about time we take back the cup from Slytherin. Professor McGonagall looks at Harry very sternly.
I want you to train very hard, Potter, or I might still punish you for your disobedience today.
Then she suddenly smiles.
Your father would have been proud of you. He was an excellent Quidditch player himself, you know, she says. Now, get back to your house. We'll talk later.
Harry, still confused but excited, heads back to Gryffindor. Later that night, during dinner, Harry tells Ron and the other children of Gryffindor about his encounter with Professor McGonagall. It is hard for them to believe it. Even Harry has difficulty believing what is happening. But Wood confirms the incredible news when he comes by the table and talks to Harry again. You start training next week, Potter. You'll be the youngest seeker in a century at Hogwarts. See you next week. Ron is so impressed and amazed, he just sits there with his mouth open. Then Malfoy appears. Crabbe and Goyle stand next to him like stone columns.
Is this your last meal before you get expelled, Potter?
Says Malfoy with a cruel smile on his face.
I hope you enjoy life with the muggles again.
He laughs at his own meanness.
You're very brave, now that you are on the ground with your little friends with you,
says Harry, with more confidence than he feels. In fact, Crabbe and Goyle are not little at all.
I can fight you any time, Potter,
says Malfoy.
How about tonight? A wizard's duel. Wands only, no physical contact. What's the matter? You've never heard of a wizard's duel? Of course he has,
answers Ron in Harry's defense.
Harry accepts, and I'll be his second.
Malfoy smiles and looks at the two boys beside him.
Crabbe's my second. Tonight then, at midnight, in the trophy room.
Malfoy looks at Harry with a mean face.
Don't be late, coward,
he says, and walks away with Crabbe and Goyle on each side.
You can't have a wizard's duel with Malfoy tonight,
says Hermione, who has been listening to the conversation.
You'll be caught, and you'll get us all in trouble again. I don't even know what a wizard's duel is, says Harry, confused. And what's a second, Ron? Well, as your second, answers Ron, if you die in the duel, I take over. It's a normal practice in the wizarding world. But don't worry, I don't think either of you know enough magic to really hurt each other. Just a bunch of noise and smoke, probably.
Later that night, Harry is nervous about his duel with Malfoy. But he gets out of bed, picks up his wand, and he and Ron leave the Gryffindor common room as quietly as they can. Before they can exit through the painting in the corridor, there is a voice from one of the chairs.
I can't believe you're going to do this, Harry.
It is Hermione Granger.
You,
says Ron angrily.
Go back to bed. I'm coming too.
It is Neville Longbottom, who wakes up when he hears all the talking. Harry does not want anyone to get in trouble, but he is relieved that he will not face Malfoy alone. The small group leaves the common room and heads down the corridor to the trophy room. Hermione continues to complain about Gryffindor losing points, and Neville walks into a wall in the dark corridor. At every corner, the children expect to see Filch or his cat, Mrs. Norris, but they are lucky. They finally arrive at the trophy room safely, but the trophy room is empty. Malfoy and Crabbe are not there. The minutes pass, but Malfoy does not come.
Maybe he's afraid,
says Ron, hopefully. Suddenly, they hear a voice from the next room. It is not Malfoy. It is Filch talking to his cat.
Can you smell them? They are in here somewhere, for sure. They are probably hiding.
Malfoy has tricked them. He has told Filch that Harry will be waiting in the trophy room. Harry does not wait to be captured.
Follow me,
he whispers, and they run silently toward another door, away from Filch's voice. Neville, in complete terror, crashes into a suit of armor that is in the trophy room. The sound is loud enough to wake all of Hogwarts.
Run!
Yells Harry. They run as fast as they can. They do not look back to see if Filch is following them. They have no idea where they are going, until they come to the end of a corridor. There is a locked door. They can hear footsteps approaching them. It must be Filch.
I know a spell to unlock doors,
says Hermione. Hermione touches her wand to the lock on the door and says,
Alohomora.
The lock clicks, and they run through the door. They wait quietly on the other side, listening. They can hear Filch talking to Mrs. Norris.
There's no one in this corridor, and the door is locked. They must have gone down another corridor, my love. Let's go.
They can hear Filch's footsteps move in the opposite direction.
I think we're safe now, says Harry. What is it, Neville? Stop pulling on my robe.
Harry turns around and sees quite clearly why Neville is trying to get Harry's attention. This night has turned into a nightmare. They are not in a room at all. They are in a corridor, the forbidden corridor on the 3rd floor. And now they know why it is prohibited to come here. They are looking straight into the eyes of a giant dog. A dog that fills the whole space between the floor and the ceiling. The monstrous dog has 3 heads. Looking at the children are 3 pairs of huge eyes, 3 wet noses, and 3 drooling mouths, with saliva hanging down like ropes from giant yellow teeth. The monster is standing perfectly still, just looking at them. And the only reason they are not dead already is that the children surprised the dog. But the dog is recovering quickly from its surprise. Harry reaches desperately for the doorknob and turns it. If he has a choice between Filch and being eaten by a dog, he will take Filch. They all run through the door, and Harry shuts it quickly behind them. Luckily, Filch is not there anymore. They run back to Gryffindor as fast as their feet can take them, until they are standing in front of the painting of the fat lady that covers the secret entrance. Now, safe inside the Gryffindor common room, Hermione says,
Did anyone use their eyes in that corridor?
All the children look at her, confused.
I used my eyes, and all I saw was a giant dog, says Harry. Didn't you see what it was standing on?
The floor, answers Ron.
No, not the floor. It was standing on a trapdoor. It's obviously guarding something. This night has been too much for me. I'm going to bed.
All the children agree that the night has been a very exciting one, and as Harry is lying in his bed, he has a lot to think about. The dog was guarding something. Could the dog be hiding something important? Like a package that someone wanted to steal from Gringotts? Hagrid had told Harry the only place safer than Gringotts was Hogwarts. It looks like Harry has discovered where that little package from Vault 713 is.